Hey, welcome to It's On Talk Show, and today's show topic is mental health. As you well know, in today's society, there are so many problems with mental health. So today I brought some people on the show that care about you, that want to help you, that are in this great field. They're professionals, and they're going to talk to you. I'd like to first introduce my guest to my right.
My name is Tunde Oke. Good evening, everybody. I work for Abon Secure Hospital at the New Faces Psychiatric Rehab Program located at the back of Ricestown Road Plaza at the border of the Baltimore County. And I have been residential supervisor for the last 12 years.
All right, and you are?
Hi, my name is Joanna Johnson, and I'm an addiction specialist, CAC, and I work with Mosaic Community Services, and I deal with the parents that are drug exposed and the newborns that are drug exposed. And I've been in the field for 7 years.
Right.
Hi, I'm Rosemary Jefferson, and I work at the I work at the Recovery Community Center, 2828 Lock Raven, which is a brand new center, and which is it's a center also for mental homeless. And I've been in the field for over 7 years.
All right, all right. So, Joanne, as you've expressed your interest in this field and what you're doing, what's one of your greatest passions for being in the field of mental drug addiction?
Well, my greatest passion is to help people to become aware that it's okay to seek mental health, and that mental health for most people untreated leads to people depending on alcohol and drugs to cope with their problems.
And truly, that is a problem in today's society. Rose, what are you experiencing in the field?
Well, so far in the field I'm in right now, the homelessness, and how people became homeless, not only because of the drug and the getting and using, but because of the losing of Section 8. You know, people lose their vouchers and get put out of homes because of violence, and they just, and then we have people that wants to be out there homeless. That part right there, my hearts go really deep to the people that don't even want to be responsible and realizing that you can come in from the cold. And you know, and I talk to those people every day, all day, and my passion really lies there for the people that do not want to come in, and you know, they find it better just to not to be responsible because of so many different types of trauma they've had because of their mental illness or their drug abuse.
So I want to piggyback on what you just said. So a lot of these people, you say they don't want to be responsible. Is it because they've been so impacted by the economic downtrodden that we've experienced in today's society?
Absolutely.
Wow.
Absolutely.
That's sad.
And it's a turn off, and some people just don't even want to fight anymore. And you know, and because you know, they rather surrender and just receive a check. And I'd be like, well, when do you want to ever work again? No.
Wow.
Do you ever want to? And look, I even heard the part where they say they don't even want to get in a relationship because that's going to cost too much. Because you're going to have to pay for the wife, you're going to have to pay for the children, and it's like, well, you need to have hope because you was put on this earth to subdue the earth and own things.
Right.
You know, no man should want to be a nomad, and that really.
That's really bothersome.
Really,
that's really
yeah,
bothersome.
yeah.
I mean, I'm listening to you. Your program is called Hope, and certainly that's a great name. And
Yeah.
hoping that some of these people will receive some hope there and some fortitude of faith. I think a lot of times some of those people have just lost faith, and I believe if they would return to God, their faith would be restored, and therefore they'll see some measures of hope. You know what I mean? And of course, I'm sure your program is very good to them, and I'm sure you all give them as much help as possible so they can at least try. So I'm really proud to hear that what you all are doing at your location, the Hope Center.
And if I may add,
sure.
all our services are free.
Wow, that's great.
Upstairs, downstairs, the homeless. You take a shower, and you get clothes, you get food. You know, you get, if you need case management, you need psych, everything is free.
Because, you know, if someone may be watching the TV and they may be in some dire need, where they do need some hope. So you want to give that address to your location?
Sure. It's 2828 Loch Raven Road. It's Loch Raven in Exeter, right there at the corner. Can't miss it. A great big sign that says HOPE, 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 helping other people through empowerment.
So listen out there. If you are in trouble and you need some hope, there's a place you can go, because this show is designed to give you some hope, to give you some help, some direction. Again, these people on this panel care about you as an individual. They want you to be raised up. They don't want you in that place of lowness and down. And please, obtain some faith. Let your mind be restored. Brother Tunde, what's your why are you motivated with the passion to help people?
Well, when I first got here from Africa, I worked in 3 different things. Mostly, I spent my time in hotel management. Then one day, I saw a fellow classmate of mine when I was at Morgan. He was the coordinator. Then I told him that I need to do something else with my life.
Right.
I'm tired of going in the morning to make all this money, but you never have time to spend it.
Right.
So then he reminded me that when we're in college, you used to work 3 or 4 jobs. Would you like to come and work with me? So lo and behold, one day before September 11,
Okay.
I joined Bon Secure Hospital. Then 3 years later, he was instrumental in lifting me next to him to be the supervisor while
Okay.
he was the coordinator. My whole take about the mental health field is to remove the social stigma, especially among we people, the African Americans. When I say African Americans, I'm including the colored people, so to say, from the continent of Africa.
Okay.
We need to come together. What it is what it is.
Right.
No, it's not going anywhere, but
That's
we
true.
can manage it.
That's right.
We can all come together, find housing, get people off the street. Talk to the addiction counselor, right? You said it's free. It's free because someone has paid for it.
That's right.
Right.
That's right.
So
Right.
let's come together and make it work for us. Just because you're living with mental illness, that doesn't mean that you can contribute positively and significantly to the task of nation building. So we cannot give up.
That's right. You can't give up. Can't give up.
Right.
I want to ask this question. What impact do you think that the news has on the society, which causes mental illnesses? You ever thought about that?
No. Well, I know the news don't really put a positive focus on mental health or addiction. It's like they want to kind of sweep it under the rug and act like it don't exist.
Right.
And it's like a revolving door, because people with mental health, if they don't stay stabilized, and take their medication and keep their appointments with their therapist, then they'll get off focus, and then they'll start back to using drugs.
Right.
I'm sorry.
Go ahead, no.
The only time that we do have, maybe our government or we the people, trying to do something or pretend to do something, is when we have calamities like the one that happened to those innocent kids and teachers down there in
Right.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Sure.
that is
Yeah.
like the one that happened at movie house.
Yeah.
Right.
Then you will see Mr. President and everybody else
Right.
calling each other up, and then the NRA on one side. So all those things.
Right,
And
so
of
you-
course, the all these technologies like those video games. We see extreme violence.
Right,
Our
right.
kids are learning from it.
Right.
We don't do like when I was growing up. We have only one central table, and everybody comes together after school to eat dinner. You read a Bible passage and do all that.
Well, see,
And
that's
you discuss-
family. That's family.
That's family. And we discuss what's going on today. But now, in each and every home, we got about 12 dozen TV everywhere.
Right.
We don't come together anymore. We don't even have conversation.
Right.
It's even difficult now to get hello from our kids.
Well, let's talk about family. What do you think has happened because the family has broken up? Do you think that has added to mental illness?
Well, some people, they suffer from problems that happened to them as a child.
Yeah,
You know,
yeah.
like post-traumatic stress, and a lot of people that come through in my years of experience as a addiction specialist, you know, it's something that happened to them as a child
Mm-hmm.
that led to them wanting to, you know, not deal with it
Right.
and cover it and treat it with drinking and drugs and drugs. The people that's selling drugs in the community has separated the families,
Mm-hmm,
you know, especially low income families, you know, where the drug activity is heavy, and it's just destroyed a lot of families.
Right.
So a lot of family structures are broken.
Right. So so if we get back, if we could reconstruct the family, do you believe that it would help to minimize some of the mental illnesses?
Yes.
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 When I was growing up back home in the African village,
Uh-huh.
the image of the African Americans that we had is that all of you are in one place, like you have your own state.
Uh-huh.
This is the Negro state.
Right.
But I was told when I got here, you know, I happened to be married to an African American woman,
Mm-hmm.
and my mother-in-law told me that in the 60s, in the 50s, because she's now 78.
Okay.
She told me that you guys don't mingle with the Caucasian. That you guys have your own community.
Well, it was like that. It was
And things
it
are
was
going
stronger
smoothly.
that way. Yeah.
no.
Sadly, there's a lot of integration and a lot of stuff. With the integration, a lot of the black power structure has been broken. Because you're right. I mean, blacks were much more organized. They weren't killing one another. They were loving one another. They were strong. They had businesses. So yes, that is absolutely correct. But we've got to get back together as a people and as a culture, but not just African American, but everybody.
Everybody.
You know, because now we all live together. We all have to love and respect one another. So we all have to come together as a family now and support one another. Because you know, with the destruction of families and this drug thing, this whole culture, it's just total destruction. You know, let me ask you, Rose, what do you think is the measure to bring things back in order?
Well, from my experience, you talked about the uniting of the family.
Uh-huh.
Now, the love piece in the family is a very important too. But for the old people that's out there that's homeless and mental problems, their family have died off. So you know they don't have any heritage to grab onto. You know,
Uh-huh.
you know, but we need the family. We need to, if not a blood relative, it need to be an aunt. I mean, it need to be a neighbor. It need to, you know, because earlier I heard a conversation when I got here at the studio was talking about it take a village to raise a kid.
True.
You know, and if we would just bring that hope back to life and knowing how to reach out for somebody like your next door neighbor, and you know she has a mental problem, the nurse didn't come today, you know, if you go over there and help her, you know, maybe she wouldn't have set the house on fire, lose her house or something. You know, we have got to come together and not be afraid of the people with the mental illnesses and realize that their disability is not just a handicap, but it's just, it calls for extra care and the extra love. And can you go that extra mile to give that extra care and extra love in order to help these individuals to, you know, to come up out and lift them up? You know, because that's why we're here. And that's,
Right.
what we, you know, we losing that love piece, and we're forgetting all about helping your neighbor. You know, we so fast to stay on our own path and
Right.
mind our own business because we don't want our house blown up.
Right.
But yet,
Right. Strong.
still, if we got to overcome it, and we got to come and reach out and have the passion that we need, because it is a war. It really
Yeah.
is. The mental piece and the drug all go together, and it's just
Yes, it
wicked
does.
how it goes together.
Wow.
Because if you're mentally ill, why would you use drugs?
Right.
But I ran into so much. I had clients that been on methadone and about 5 psycho drugs, and I'd be like, I'm so glad to meet you, and you're not on the street, you know?
Yeah.
Because you know they need love and care, and they don't need to be around a lot of, you know, fast things, because evidently you got to be slowed down at that pace. Something's going on.
Right.
Right. Just have patience and love. That's all I say.
Wow. So,
Patience
you know,
and
we
love.
got to show a lot of love to our family members, our friends that are dealing with mental illnesses. It is so important, you know. Let me ask you a question about faith. Do you believe that if a lot of the people would regain a relationship with God, that could help their mental status?
Yes, I truly believe that because everybody needs something to believe in and something to grab a hold of and a power bigger than their self.
Okay.
You know, and I believe that would help them if they form a relationship with a higher power and bring some structure to their
Okay.
life.
Right.
Yes.
And I've heard you mention you deal with children. Let me ask you some of the effects. School children go to school, they act up, and immediately they put the kids on medications. Are they then preparing these kids to be the future drug users, to be dependent on some sort of drugs?
Well, that's systemic.
Uh-huh.
I mean, you know, by the time you get here and you started, they call it misbehaving.
Right.
But you're doing things that is appropriate for your age. But the powers that be, they misinterpreted that something's wrong with you.
Right, right.
Then they put you on Ritalin, they put you on everything you can think about. By the time you become a double digit in age, a teenager, you're already hooked.
Right, and you need to sustain some sort of drug
Yes.
to maintain.
Yes.
So that's something we have to be very careful about because so many kids are on these drugs and you don't know the effects that could occur in 5 and 10 years.
Right.
You know,
the after effects.
huh?
The after effects.
Yeah,
After
yeah. So
effects.
that's something we really have to be concerned about. And you know, when kids have those drugs in them, you know, drugs affect people differently.
But yes.
You know, so we really got to be concerned about that. Where did we go from here?
Well, I think that medication need to be monitored more because a lot of clients are going to different doctors, getting different prescriptions, and the kids, a lot of them don't need to be on some of these drugs that they're on.
Right. So
you
true.
know, and we need to educate the children and the adults that, you know, drug addiction is not going to help your problem.
Right.
You know.
And you know, as I've listened to Rose mention the fact about love, if we had love in the schools, then the children would have a teacher that will love them and talk to them, and you know, as opposed to just directing them to social workers and the social workers directing to doctors and doctors prescribing them on medications, and you know, you have that cycle of
Right.
viciousness going on, and that really needs to stop.
It
Yeah.
is.
And of course, we need to bring. I found out in my experience that doctors don't even communicate with each other. The primary doctor will prescribe 2 medicines. By the time you get to the psychiatrist, he or she will add 5 more,
And you know,
Right.
it's
and crisscross each
It's a
other.
perpetual thing where everybody's just making money
Yes,
and
right.
pimping the
Yes.
children.
Yeah, well, yeah.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, and
and not
adults too.
concerned really about their future.
No,
Right.
they don't.
So we really have to understand that
It's a
that
cap-
game is going on.
It's a capitalist economy, so
Right.
a rat race.
Exactly.
Yes,
It's a rat
yes.
race. I like
Yeah.
that. So we really have to be careful about children on medications. And again, if love is in the home and not violence, not hatred, or fear, then you know when love takes full control, then we can limit so many of
That's
the
all the
problems.
medicines they need.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
I prescribe to you love,
Yes.
straight love, especially love of Christ,
Yes.
because that's the one thing that
Right.
will keep us all together.
Yes.
You know, so so that's got to happen. It's just got to happen.
Yes. It do.
As we go on in life, with you know what I'll tell you what I'm seeing. People who are in treatment are given another drug to sustain a high, supposedly to get off a drug. You know, as you see them there in Leicester Market, they still weaving and bobbing,
Yes.
you know,
Yes.
weeble wobble, but they don't fall down.
Right.
Which is such a sad picture.
It
I seen
is.
a grandmother, you know, nodding. Come on, you know, let's wake up. Let's change who we are. Let's become
Yes.
a greater person. You know, but again, if they love themselves a little
Right.
more,
Right.
you know,
That's
and
correct.
we really understand.
Patience.
Patience. Yeah, and I understand too that you know some people are dealing with so many fears
Right.
inside, and again, like you mentioned, they have self-medicated themselves
Yes.
to try to get rid of that fear of something that happened maybe as a child.
Yes.
You know, so can anyone elaborate on that?
But before we go there, I want to talk more about the program I started.
Sure.
Because, see, everybody has went through the treatment and put them on the methadone and did all these things. My program is called Recovery and Community Center, and we're coming at the whole addiction and mental problem in another aspect. Now, we have NA and we do have AA, but we incorporate things like yoga, Tai Chi, you know, sex education, HIV classes, meditation, coffee sensation. You know, when we lay back, we're not actually saying anything is mandatory to the clients. If you choose to want to sit in this group or you choose to want to participate, plus we got pool, we got ping pong, and we got karaoke. You know, we
have several options.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
All right.
And we just make it a variety. It's like a one-stop shop. You know, a place where you bring your children. You know, and it's just because of the fact that they some clinicians have come to a point that get the recovery is not being so effective, and people are relapsing and doing this, that, and the other. So we take a laid-back approach. But NAA is there, right? But also these other avenues that if you give yourself a break while you're doing yoga or Tai Chi, I mean, 1 hour just sitting and meditating, you might find out who you are. You know,
Right.
in the midst of it all. And that's where some people get lost, even our children. They don't know who they are. They can't identify with their heritage, or they can't identify with their background. So,
Right.
you know.
And you know, another issue comes up when you mention their themselves is the sexuality piece. Because
yeah.
right now we're living in a society where, you know, so many, you have the same-sex marriage, the transgender
Right.
community, and we have to
Yes.
ask, is it mental health? Is
Yes.
it what's going on?
Right.
It's happening so much. So, and, you know, we have to be concerned about our family members. But if we go back to love and concern, then we can solve a lot of these problems.
Yes.
And I think also we need to focus more on preventive care also, and start at a young age and educate the kids about the dangers of drugs, and you know, and what it'll do to their lives, you know, because it becomes a norm when it's in your home. You know,
Right,
your
right.
mother drinks, so you drink because it's okay, because
Right.
you feel though it's
It's like-
okay. You know, so I think early education and preventive care will help also.
Because like right now, one second. Right now, weed. Everybody's smoking weed like it's cool, like it's nothing, like it's a lollipop or something. You know, the culture has got to change. It's
Yes.
a drug. It's addictive. You know,
With the rest of
and to those who smoke cigarettes, I did a show with Israel from I Can't Be Can. He told me there's over 2,000 chemicals in cigarettes.
It is.
You know?
It is, or more.
I was with a young lady
Yes.
yesterday, the other day. She's a family member. I won't say who she is, but she smokes. She's smoking cigarettes. I said, "Why are you doing? You're killing yourself." Oh, she said, "I know, but you know, I hate to tell her, but she's a junkie, a cigarette
Yes,
junkie.
that's
It's a
exactly-
habit.
that's
She
Very
you know, it's
addictive.
uncomfortable to hear that, but really, you're killing yourself."
Yes. Yes.
See, the first school of the child is actually the home,
Right.
not them schools that we send it to.
Mm-hmm.
So, right now, it seems like generally worldwide, character is in crisis.
Mm-hmm.
So we need to bring character out of crisis.
Right.
I mean, you pregnant and you're expecting a baby, but you puff and smoke.
Right. You're killing.
yes.
And you're hurting yourself and your
And the
baby.
baby.
Yes.
That's right.
Yes.
So, you know, that's some concerns, and you know, I want to thank you all for coming on the show to express your love and your concern to all the people out there, because we want them to know that we really, really do care about
Yes.
them. We're concerned about you. We don't want you to be in that place where you are mentally ill. I believe if you would just seek some faith,
Yes.
family show love, then we can help resolve a lot of these problems as a big family. And please stop killing one another. That's something.
Please.
Oh, can anyone just elaborate on the killings before a
It's
second?
just senseless. It's just senseless. It's like everybody has lost. Well, a lot of the young people have lost the value of life.
Yeah,
You
yeah.
know,
Yeah.
it's like life is meaningless. You know, and it is no problem with them taking somebody else's life.
Yeah,
You
sad,
know, without
so
any
sad.
remorse, and it is very
And
sad
that's
for our
almost-
community.
That's more than a mental illness.
Yes,
I think that's straight up
yeah.
being crazy.
Yes.
And the big shock comes when you got to go to jail for the rest of your life
Yeah.
as a young person.
Or life
That's
or
not
life.
cool.
a life
Yeah,
for a
and
life.
it's sad.
If you're lucky
Yes.
to go to jail, if you don't get killed in
Killed yourself.
retaliation.
That's right. That's right.
Yes.
So listen, we're gonna take a break. We'll be right back, and I have a major statement I'm gonna make when I come back. Don't you move from that TV. I got a major statement I'm gonna make. We'll be right back. Hey, welcome back to It's On Talk Show, and today's show topic is mental health. And I have a second panel here of wonderful people. We're going to talk about mental health issues. You're going to hear about what they're doing in their lives. But first, I got to give my statement. Y'all ready? Check this out. I'm straight and I'm strong, and I love women all day long. And you know that's right. My name is Johnny Holmes, and I approve this message. Peace. Back to this program. We have here, brother Daryl Bay.
Yeah, Brother Daryl Johnson, Hyphen Bay.
How you
Pleased
doing?
to meet you. Good.
Good. Miss Flowers
Christina Flowers, president of Belvedere Assisted Living, Belvedere Homes.
and brother Donald.
Brother Donald Smith, the Spirit Man, son of the Panthers.
All right. So wonderful to have all of you on this panel. We all know that there's a crisis of mental health, and we want to help the folks out in TV land to get through. We're going to start with you, Ms. Flowers. How you doing?
I'm doing well
Good.
today, and yourself?
I'm wonderful, and I hear you're doing some wonderful work. You've been great in the city. Can you tell TV land what's going on and what you're doing?
Well, thanks for having me, first
Oh,
of
it's
all.
my pleasure.
It's definitely an honor to be able to represent the homeless population. When it comes to the mental ill individuals, it's definitely something that I've been working at for some years, dealing with the mental ill population. But the homeless individuals has definitely become a passion to me since myself and my partner and colleague, Lolita Chase, has been working with this population.
All right.
This is a vulnerable individuals that really need a lot of love and care from individuals such as ourselves.
All right. And that's so important. The big word I hear, love. And we talked about the last segment. We infuse love back into our society, our families, all people. Then we can solve so many issues and so many problems. Brother Bay, what's going on with you? What's your passion here?
My passion is, I just graduated from college. I got a Bachelor's of Science in Psychology.
Oh, congratulations.
And I took that because I wanted to try to find out how to let out what was coming in. I'm also taking computer technology schools, trying to become an addiction specialist.
All right.
In the various programs that they have. And the biggest addiction that I see coming forth at this particular time is gambling.
Oh, that's a big one, because as you well know, we have several new ones. A new one is being built right now by the stadium. So again, that's strong. I didn't even think about that.
No one talks about that.
No one.
Yeah.
You're right. And it's predicted so many people will be losing their homes,
Exactly.
their jobs. They're gonna be stressed out. So yeah, wow. Brother Donald, how you doing?
Brother, I'm doing okay. How yourself?
I can't complain. I'm doing well.
I'm happy to be here.
I'm glad you're here.
Yes, sir.
You are just a wonderful person, so outspoken, with so much love and concern, care. If anybody knows you, they know that about you.
They know I'm crazy, too.
Well, that's right. And there's nothing wrong with that.
Mentally ill. Yes,
But,
sir.
Brother Donald, so what can you say to TV Land to help the folks that are suffering with the mental illness issues living in today's society?
Well, most of the folks in this society, for one, do not know that they are mentally ill.
And that's strong. That's
And you
true.
can be mentally ill and be functional. A functional, mentally ill person.
True.
And the majority of us have that within us, that mental illness, particularly us as a African people here in this country. We suffer from mental illness. They call it post-traumatic slavery syndrome. But, we see that during the civil rights movement, those things are supposed to have changed in a new direction, a new focus, supposed to have came about in a new mindset. But you could do that doll experiment with our babies today, and you will come up with the same
Scenario, that's
scenario
right.
and
Yeah.
same results. So we have moved from a situation of segregation to hyper-segregation, and the understanding the mental illness of people, particularly black people. You will be mentally ill just by living in this society and trying to deal with the continuous onslaught that we have to deal with in all facets of our lives, and everyone up here and those who are the previous panel all have spoken on it and can represent those things because it takes on, it has its different forms, it has its different venues that it affect us, and we all feel that effect.
That's true, because I mean, if you live in a community, and if mental ill people are there, drug abusers there, we feel that. We all suffer. So we have to come up today with some solutions for the folks out there to give them some help and give them some real hope. Brother Bay, what can you say to give the folks some real hope and help out there?
Brother John, I'm here primarily to represent those who don't have a voice, okay? I stop and talk to brothers every day on the corner, those around the corner, you know what I mean? Those not in position to have someone to hear them like they need to be heard. And those who are, I found out, actually mentally ill don't know they're mentally ill.
Yeah.
And those that are mentally ill are in denial. And in looking at mental illness, I want to talk about something that's not hereditary, something that's created.
What's that?
You know what I mean? By chemical imbalance. I'm saying, see, we don't have the correct information of the results or the origin of where mental illness comes from. We talk about asbestos, right, which is one. You know what I mean? We talk about lead paint, you know, which is two.
Right.
I mean, we don't talk about chemical imbalances that's in the very food that we eat.
That's true.
Where we got to get to. We got to get to the point that we have those that be. I'm talking about FCCs, governments. I'm talking about FDAs, you know what I mean?
Right.
Federal stamp approved, I'm saying, products that's killing our children mentally. They don't have no retention span because it's too much salt, it's too much sugar, and we need to cure our mental illnesses first by looking at the origin of where it's coming from, not from the womb of our women, but by the products that we eat and the environments that we grow up in. Like he said, when we go through a school, we automatically come in with the precept that we need Ritalin. Because we don't have retention span. We too hypo, you know, we too active, right? And where does that come from? Being the people that we are, we have that type of chemical imbalance in us because what we're eating is not conducive to what's in us, and as a result, we go overboard. Our retention span is not where it's supposed to be, so therefore, we lack the results of going to the second grade. From the first to the second, we end up what? In the first for 2 years before we can get to the sixth, and by the time we get to the sixth, we don't know what we knew in the first grade. So what we got to do is get to the origin, to the core problem about what's going on, getting our children up off them corners, selling each other's drugs. That's a mental illness.
Yeah.
Anytime that you in a community and you will sell another individual some crack, some heroin, or some coke, whatever type of derivative, you mentally ill.
That's strong. That's strong. And you know what? When you listen to you, the big talk now is going green. Veggies, fruits, and you know that is very important because very true. A lot of kids eat fast foods, box foods that we don't know what's. I mean, escapendalian words that you can't even pronounce are in the foods. And again, you're right. That's very strong.
I want to say one thing
Sure.
before you pass the mic. Everybody, before they eat or drink any type of liquid or consume any type of food, look for this common word. It's called high fructose.
Right.
If it's high fructose, don't mess with it. It's dangerous. Artificial flavor, THC, THA, cause cancer.
Wow.
Cause cancer. Fruit with no lining on your stomach. What I mean by that, having something on your stomach, you know what I'm saying, that will consume the acidity that's in the fruit that burn the lining from your stomach and cause acid reflux. I'm talking about we can stop ourselves from going to hospital, stop ourselves from not using but a fractional part of our brain if we would just learn how to eat. You know what I mean? And then we attack the core problem again with the landlords or slumlords, right, with your lead paint. Because all of us experience lead paint problems coming up. Lead paint and what else? What else they got? What else they got in the houses? Lead paint and what else?
Feces.
Say it again.
Urine.
That's right. All of that is a part of it. And what we do, we don't, you know what I mean? We don't care. We don't have the, the knowledge of these things. And we think the knowledge is not relevant. And as a result, we end up right where we are. Homelessness. Look, I'm a victim of it. I stayed incarcerated for 30 years. I'm sick.
Yeah.
Because I had been institutionalized, okay? They took me in 2004, as you know, and put me in the street.
Uh-huh.
I haven't seen no psychiatrist. I haven't been through no therapeutic program. Just put me in the street. If my mom wouldn't have been living at that particular time, I may have been a maniac. I could have turned into whatever you want to.
Right.
But the government didn't see fit for, you know what I mean, to be able to prepare society for my coming, and as a result, I'm here to attest that if it wasn't for those that were around me, they didn't assist me in my development, to be able to sit here today and tell you that I know I had been sick, and I'm coming out of my sickness because I'm still making a transition out of the state that I was in there. So I have experience, and then I went to the institution that they have. See, it's one thing to go to the institution and have the book knowledge. It's another thing to experience.
That's right, experience
and,
is
and
hard
have
to-
the book knowledge.
That's
Because,
right.
you know, we wear our suit and ties, and we come in there, and we don't have the experiences, you know, to be able to articulate what these guys need. They
That's
don't want
true.
to hear the big words. These
That's
kids
right.
don't know nothing about that.
That's right.
They yo boys, they wear their pants off, they doing this and they doing that. They need somebody that they look up to right now to be able to tell them what's going on. That's the everyday person that's doing the same thing
Right.
that you're doing right now. Not the basketball players, not the football players. I heard the sister talking about the Ravens game, the brother talking about the Ravens game. It was 1 million people down there. I was down there myself. But when they had something pertaining to, you know what I mean, the effects of society, you know,
Right.
down there wasn't nobody there.
Right, right,
Because people
right.
don't care about the core issue.
Right, and we-
about what's going on.
Yeah, that's strong, very strong.
Yes, serious.
And we're very proud of you as well.
Thank you.
So, Ms. Flowers, you are housing. Where did you get the tenants from that you're housing?
Well, the individuals that we're housing now is actually coming off of that I-83 Falls Way
By the jail?
corridor, under the bridge, by the jail, healthcare to homeless, Our Daily Bread, the Cold Blue Shelter. And the biggest thing that's here is awareness.
Right.
And it's a lot of, you know, like you were saying, it's not a lot of awareness out here in reference to what's going on. Because, and I was talking to this gentleman, like, sometimes you're going to tell the truth of how you say things,
Right.
but you may need to modify when.
Right.
Because everything can be true that you're saying, because, you know, since March the 7th, our experience with this homeless population is awareness. Like, a lot of people
Right.
is not even aware of half of these individuals' issues because they become a statistic or a number to them.
Right, right.
Like, they're not really addressing their issues. You know, they want to address the fact that they're homeless, and you could come through this service, you could come through that service, but at the same time, you know, housing is a right for these individuals, and without the housing, you know, yourself or I would probably want a cradle to something to cope.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, we might want a drink or something if we was out in those streets and lived in the conditions that most of these individuals lived in. And basically, you know, since March the 7th, you know, myself and Ms. Chase, we pretty much committed to these individuals to house them.
Right.
Like, in the services, I mean, you know, healthcare to homeless, in certain buildings, they do have services for them. And I say give them the services, but give
Right.
them housing first. And it makes a difference when you can empower them.
That's right.
Because other than that, you know, these individuals, they have lost dignity, they have lost respect, they have lost pride. You know, they're being humiliated.
Absolutely.
And some of it is not by their choice.
That's true.
It's by the force of individuals that holds the key or control things.
But I want to congratulate. I want all of you out there to congratulate Ms. Flowers for going down, getting the homeless people off by 83 by the jails. We rode by them. I was one of them.
They've been there
But
for years.
she's the one that took them in. She deserves a round of applause. Woo! All right. Congratulations. I mean,
Thank
that's
you.
real strong.
That's right.
And I appreciate and respect you for what you're doing. That is very, very strong.
It definitely
I mean,
come with a lot of, you know, and then again, I say myself and Lolita, it definitely come with a sense of commitment because, you know, and listening to the people on the panel, like, you have to be involved with these people more deeply. Like, you
They're
know,
humans.
when you're talking about housing, you got to make them a part of your life, a part of your family. And sometimes if you don't familiarize yourself even with their surroundings, you know, it took us to go down there, but these individuals was down there for 5 years.
Wow.
You know, people watch these people. They roll past them. They was there for 5
Yeah,
years.
yeah.
And it took us to go down there on the 5th or the 6th. This was like 3 days before the city was evicting them from outside already.
Wow, yeah.
You know, and their option was for them to go in the shelter, but they already lived 20 feet away from this shelter. And now in this shelter today, you know, they're changing directors because now people is taking notice of some of the issues and concerns that happens inside these shelters. So now they want to, you know, because there's been a death or because it's been this, now they want to change directors and change supervisors, but at the same time, they're not willing to give these individuals housing. Like, and you said it yourself, like Baltimore City has a lot of revenue coming in.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
You know, you
absolutely,
can
yeah.
mess with our gas, you can mess with our taxes, you can
Rain
do
tax.
everybody with the water going up. But as long as God give us our health and strength, we're going to tackle that. But when you're going against, you know, the basic income, the no income, some of them, they don't have that option to tap into some of those services
Right.
when they don't even have a roof over their
It's
heads.
true, it's
You know,
true.
sometimes they can't even lose their spot in the shelter or they'll be outside.
Well, yeah, I
Like they
heard-
got to
I
make a decision from a meal. Do I get a meal and stand in the line for 3 hours, or do I go get my health care needs met and stand in the line for 3 hours?
Right.
So it's like, you know, some of our society of leadership is stripping them just from being
Yeah.
able to make a basic
What you
decision.
said, what you said.
So and that's what happens to a lot of them. So awareness is something that I feel like, you know, as a whole nation of Baltimore City, we need to step up and take more notice of, because again, these individuals are there, you know, and unless we really step up and take the responsibility, you know, it's going to be a continuing thing. Homelessness is increasing, not decreasing in
Yeah.
Baltimore City.
And I heard that the greater the children are the number one homeless persons, and that's sad. Brother Donald, let me ask you, what can we do to solve this problem of mental illness, homelessness?
Do you really want that answer?
Oh.
Yes, sir. And I want the truth, Brother Donald. Not about the
I'm
truth.
gonna give it to you.
All right.
I don't water it down. I don't sugar it up. And I don't serve Kool-Aid.
There you go.
And I don't choose no special way of talking to my enemy.
There you go.
And I see the city of Baltimore as the enemy of our people. Because it's the city of Baltimore that when I listened to the sister program that day when they was talking about going down there and get the homeless people. The city don't want the homeless people to be seen. They want to warehouse them, put them someplace where the tourists will not see them. And we've been dealing with this issue for years.
And you know, brother, I just want to mention, you know, there was a homeless guy named Tyler Perry. But go ahead, finish.
Okay. But
Yeah.
we also see the exacerbation of the perpetuation of the homeless problem when we deal with the issue of foreclosure and housing.
True.
Not just in Baltimore City, but also in this country.
Yes.
And I think that our president is a facilitator of that process. And that speaks to the issue of mental illness. A mental illness of our people, that you will give 100% support to someone who is not speaking to your issues, not addressing you. When they do address you, talk to you crazy. But the bottom line, it comes down to just like a woman being in a relationship with a man and he does nothing for her.
Right.
You're not going to keep him around.
That's right. That's right.
And we have to understand we have a president that's doing nothing for us, and we need not to keep him around. If you can't deal with the issues of the homeless, of the pervasiveness of disparities that exist within this society, and folks say, well, it's not about race. It is about race. This is America. We will talk about mental illness. We just dealt with it a couple of days ago with Memorial Day. We celebrated
And the veterans is another
we
issue.
celebrated the fallen soldiers of America, but we put in the proper historical context. They died for corporate America and what they
Absolutely.
call America's interests. We cannot change the mental state of our people because we deal with conflict avoidance. Those things that are hampering us, those individuals, those institutions that are victimizing our people, we refuse to confront them in a straight-on manner. We go to the side, we do twists, we do turns. But then we have some that want something. We'll talk about those institutions, those individuals, and those entities, but yet want something from them in return. So if you're not going to say it straight, you're not going to say it strong, you're not going to say it strong, you're going to be mealy-mouthed about it and to keep friends, then we're not going to be able to progress as a people, because there have to be folks like this sister, like this brother, and these other folks who have to step out there on the pool.
Yeah, yeah.
And what sacrifices are we willing to make as individuals to be able to address those things, those
Right.
issues, without having the fear of some kind of personal loss?
Right, and you know, we cannot operate in fear anymore. We have to be strong, courageous, go before the leaders and demand what we want. It's time out for fear.
your
As
money.
a people, as a group of voting people, we have a very, very strong voice when we're united. And you know what? On that note, we are more united now than ever before. Brother Bay, what's your feeling about how we can resolve these issues?
The solution to the problem have been solved. I just heard it right here in short minutes that I've been
All
here
right.
with this distinguished panel here. I'm saying you have to have courage.
That's right. That's
Number
it.
one, you have to have courage. I'm saying courage means that you have to stand up for what's right. Whether you know what I mean, see yourself as a religious leader, whether you see yourself as whatever type of leader that you are, the core foundation is that we got a creator, and the creator is urging us to step up and take the responsibility for all.
Right.
One for all for one. But you got to have courage. You can't hold back. Like I say, we spend more money than any ethnic group in the whole world, but we are the sickest. And I ask myself why. We got to start producing things that are conducive to the growth and development of everybody, and not just one specific ethnic group. It has to stop somewhere. Mental illness is created. That's why it's hated. It's
Right.
created. Mental illness is not hereditary. You just don't come out unless you have a birth defect. And as a result, that's the solution to the problem is stand up. Give somebody something to grab on. You say Christ-like, that's
Right.
something to hold on to.
That's right.
But if they sick before they can grab on to Christ, then they sick. They ain't gonna know nothing about Christ-like. I'm saying being able to stand up on your own two and get it. The sister said it, Miss Flowers. She said that the people, you know what I'm saying, have sometimes problems that they know not to have. They don't know how to get the resources. They aren't aware. I mean, everybody can't read
Right.
because of mental conditions. You know what I mean? Through school. That's what I was talking about. 1 through 6,
That's right.
6 through 12, and you still don't know how to read, to understand, to be able to pull out a resume or to go up to a career center to get a job. And sometimes we'll say, "Oh, that's his response. That's his." But some people need help. Go to show you myself. If I wouldn't have had the core foundation, what she said again, Miss Flowers, housing. I had a mom that was living. Bless her soul, the day she passed. But if I wouldn't have had anywhere to go, I had to go to what I know.
That's right.
So what would they have said about me when I went to what I know? He a maniac, and he shouldn't have came out in the first place. He got a record, and they put that all over the media. And you know what everybody would have said? He didn't deserve to be out anyway.
That's true.
Well, definitely housing, and the one thing that we are learning, like these individuals have been in captive in this situation for years. I mean, this corridor of Fallsway, they done put all the accommodations for them, from the health care to homeless to where they go get a meal at to the shelter. But, all the advocates and everyone that Lolita and myself interacted with, like they didn't have an action plan.
Right.
Like they wondered, well, how you can come down here and move 12 people, because
powerful.
if I call myself a care provider, and I told people to really watch how you say that word, because I'm learning the difference now. You got care provider and you got service providers.
Okay.
A care provider, I couldn't call myself a care provider for 13 years and walk down here and see all these individuals and leave them like that.
Yeah.
So, Baltimore City call them service providers. That means, they got their special clique of providers that's funded, and they take care of what Baltimore City tell them to take care of. But if you got a city full of care providers that are being funded through monies that come in through Baltimore City, how could these people be there for so long?
Right.
I'm sure
right.
those care providers rode past 83.
Oh, yeah.
I'm pretty sure they was there. So it's, the fear factor is another thing, because like you said, they're fearful. You got people that don't want to step out the box, or they don't want to say nothing against their colleague or make them feel like, well, this is right. And if individuals come in your organization or your program and you have an empty bed, you have an opportunity to help that person, and you don't, it should affect your conscience, because like you say, God say house, clothes, feed,
That's right. That's
do
true.
what you can do
Right.
for an individual. You can't just have an individual walking around or sleeping on the steps of healthcare to homeless, because that's where they sleep at night. And the one thing I told one of the advocates there, I think if y'all want to start doing right by these people, clean off your own front steps.
Okay.
That's true. That's
You
strong.
know, they sleep there every night, and it's like I'm still waiting for the time to say, Miss Flowers, they ain't on the steps no more, but they
Alright.
still there. You know,
Wow.
you can go there any night of the week, and Sundays is their lay-in day. You know, healthcare to homeless, they sleep on these steps every night. And in my mind, I'm thinking, you know, how can you feel like you're doing a job to be worth paid for when you got to walk over these people, but you call
Yeah.
yourself a case manager, a service provider? So again, society has a way of addressing things that do affect everyone.
Right,
You know,
right.
this is not an issue that just affects the homeless. It affects me as a care provider. It should affect the person that's a case manager or a doctor, anybody that takes that title of being responsible for individual life. So,
You know what I'm concerned about? I can remember a day when all this stuff wasn't going on. There was family, there was
correct.
love,
Right.
there was some strong unity. You know what I'm saying?
Created.
And what has happened? I think you said it best. Chaos has been
Right.
created
Created.
to dissimulate the people.
That's right.
To fall into these various situations. You know, and I look at the prison thing. Where they now, if you go to jail, you're really considered as a slave, and you work as a slave because there is a strong population of corporate businesses have invested in jails, and you're making the various products in jail, and you're getting slave wages.
I'd like to say something for 1 second. I hate
Yes,
to cut
sure.
you off.
No, please.
Let me go to the, before we get to jail, let's go to Federal Reserve, okay?
Okay.
You would think that the Federal Reserve is the federal government's, but it's privately owned, but
That's right.
federally regulated. Let's go to the state institutions here in Maryland. You got state use industry. You just said
Oh,
it.
yeah.
Privately owned,
Absolutely.
but state regulated. Y'all hear what I'm saying? Private businessmen. He said something about corporate America. You know what
right.
I'm saying? The Dole report. I'm saying when you look at everything, you'll see that it's critiqued to the extent where these things are created. And I want to
Absolutely.
commend you. I want to commend you. I'm saying genuinely commend you for what you're doing.
Thank you, sir.
For what you're doing, you need to be commended, applauded. I'm saying worldwide for what you are doing
Yeah,
because
you got 25.
people need a voice.
Yes, yes.
And they need a voice of people that are in touch with those who have the problems. And last but not least, 9 out of every 10 individuals that's incarcerated is mentally ill. They aren't criminals. They are mentally ill. And I'm not taking up for them because I've been there. I'm telling you the truth because I've been there with them, mentally ill.
Right.
Thank you.
And then we have to, because a lot of them are coming home.
That's right.
And now the services,
90%.
are there services provided for them when they come home? I know there's one program on 25th Street. They closed down.
Closed down.
What was it called?
prison aid.
Prison aid.
Prison aid. That's what it's
You
called,
know,
prison
so
aid.
what happens now to a mentally ill person coming home from jail, no place to live, forced to live under the 83 or on the steps? You know, I mean, dismal in the head. What can we do?
They become a part of that homeless population. A lot of the individuals, and again, since March the 7th, you know, we have housed 56 individuals.
Are you serious?
And that's like 76
awesome.
days. And I feel like if we can do it as concerned individuals from the heart, you know, Baltimore City can do much more. Like these individuals, some of them come from that
Wait a
program.
minute, how many people have you housed?
56.
You
Our roster
housed
today has
56
been
people?
56 individuals
Let's give her a big hand.
since March the
Woo!
7th.
That's awesome.
And
That is
it's
awesome.
like it takes that effort because some of
That's
those
love.
individuals from prison aid, you know, came to our program.
Is that right?
Like once all the corruption got exposed, but what happened to the individuals that were supposed to get the service? Back on that $4,000 people roster.
Wow.
So again, you know, it's going to be a cycling situation, but the more individuals and from listening to you, you know, the lack of support that we get from our fellow individuals, you know, they want to hide like this doesn't affect them, but at the same time, you know, they're homeless and not invisible. That's
Right, right,
our slogan
right.
for them because
That's strong.
they're
I like
there,
that.
like they're homeless, but they're not invisible. They're
The
the
real
same
people.
They're the same individuals. They could be your family, my family, anybody's family. So
And again, remember, there was a guy named Tyler Perry that was homeless.
Yes.
And look at Tyler Perry now. Brother Donald, we're about to close out. I want you to give some remarks.
I wanted to speak to what the sister was talking
Go ahead.
about when she was talking about care providers opposed to service providers. Those other folks are service providers.
Right.
Their attitude is altruistic, whereas though it's we're going to provide these kind of services. We're going to take care of, these things for the poor, opposed to being a care provider, which this sister and others are doing, because they went and got the people from downtown and gave and provided housing for them and services for them that the city refuses to do. The city just don't want them to be seen because they don't want it to be a black eye or a sore spot as far as the downtown development and tourism. And that's something that we have to look at. Now, when it comes to mental illness, mental health, it doesn't matter if you're black, white, purple, orange, or yellow. It's going to affect you if you live in America. We celebrate these so-called holidays that we know, in fact, are not true. This comes down to something how we do a transgenerational passing on of these things to our children.
Right.
Is that we know that Christopher Columbus didn't discover America. Okay?
That's true.
But we celebrate that. We celebrate Misgivings Day, which we say Thanksgiving Day, that we give gratitude to people that they stole from. Okay, so
Dolly, something else.
I thank you very
something
much.
else,
Ian,
eh?
Yeah,
for
good
inviting me to
brother.
the program.
So listen, but we're gonna be closing out.
Yes.
I want to thank you all for tuning in. And remember, if you have mental illness, you have some people here who really care about you for the drug addiction part, the homeless part, counseling. But you do matter. You are somebody.
That's right.
And you are loved and you're cared about.
Exactly.
I love you and I care about you. And we all love you.
That's
right.
And we want you to stay strong. Remember, love your family members and your friends.
And love yourself.
Peace and love yourself
That's
most
right.
of all.
I hear that.
God bless, peace, and I'm out. I'll see y'all next time.
Peace.
Peace.
Hey.
Woo!